Welcome to the Seriously Absurd podcast, where there are no stupid questions, only inquisitive idiots.
Hi, Zax.
Hey, Lab.
What's the question today?
Today, I would like to talk about water drinking temperature. At what temperature do you like to drink water?
Good question, and I'm glad you asked it. I drink water at room temperature, exclusively. Or, at the very least, whatever temperature it comes out of my tap at, which may or may not be room temperature depending on the season. But generally, the way in which I consume water at home is I have it right next to me here. I have a nice Yeti drinking mug. It's 32 ounces, and its only job in the world is to hold water. It's never seen any other liquid. It only holds water, and what I do is whenever it runs out, I fill it up out of the tap, and then it sits on my desk or on my nightstand until it's empty, and then I fill it up again. I never put ice in it, and I never refrigerate it. I never put it in the fridge, and that is the method by which I consume most of my water. The reason for that is my hypothesis about the refreshing qualities of water is not in that it cools you down, or if you're hot, that you want it to be cold in order to cool you down. It's that it hydrates you, and you feel hot. You feel like you need water, and when it's hot out, because you're dehydrated, not because your body temperature is too high, because that would just be heat stroke. Therefore, the optimal way in which to consume your water when you need it, I consume water now, but I'm not dehydrated or working out in the sun or anything. But consuming water when you have a vital need to consume water, it's better to do it in a larger quantity at a more room temperature kind of temperature. Could be, 70 degrees. I'm not saying it has to be 98.6 degrees. That would probably be too hot. But consuming water at a very low temperature is slower than consuming water at a more normal room temperature. And what matters when consuming water is quantity. So when you want water and when you want to be refreshed with water, you want room temperature. And that's what will quench your thirst the quickest.
So I also favor room temperature water, or rather not iced water. Predominantly, the water that I drink comes out of the dispenser in my refrigerator, which is lightly chilled. But I do also drink a fair amount of water straight out of the tap. Pipes that run underground will sort of normalize temperature at like 50 to 60 degrees, which is generally less than room temperature in the summer.
Right.
Anyhow, the thing that I was told when I was younger, my dad's dad had a heart attack, and his heart surgeon told him to stop drinking ice water because the cold water passes right next to your heart when it goes down your esophagus, and the cold water causes your heart rate to increase and your heart to work harder. So it's actually hard on your heart to drink really cold water or eat ice cream or, consume anything else that's really cold. And so it was at that time that I decided that I would stop drinking iced beverages in general.
In general?
In general. I don't really drink iced anything. I don't drink iced water. I don't drink iced soda. I really don't drink soda at all.
It'd be weird if you were drinking room temperature soda.
I will drink cold soda, but I won't put ice in it. I will drink many beverages that have been refrigerated, but not iced. So, cooled to like 37 to 39 degrees rather than just above freezing.
Okay. I will drink iced coffee, and I believe that iced coffee is best when it's extremely cold, as close to freezing as it can be and still be a liquid. So it's not, I'm not opposed to all iced beverages in the way that you are, and my heart is, as far as I know, in good health, so I'm not particularly worried about it. At the same time, the argument I made earlier was about the utilitarian aspect of quenching thirst with water.
Yeah.
When in fact you can drink water, just with a meal, or I don't want to say for fun, because it's not a recreational activity drinking water, but just in the course of your life when you don't have a particularly intense thirst, but you're just drinking water because that's what humans do. So in that regard...
Yeah, I have a glass of water right here.
Yeah, so do I.
I almost exclusively drink water. I don't have a water bottle like you do. I have just a glass. It is a large glass, but it is just a glass, and I probably drink I don't know, 60 to 100 ounces of water every day.
I probably do 60, maybe a little less sometimes. But, I was talking about how tap water can be cold or not cold depending on, the season and your circumstances and your plumbing and so on. But one thing I don't think you do is leave your water out. Because I will have it to where I fill this water up. It's like, I'm pretty sure I filled this current glass of water up last night. And it's on my nightstand. And now I brought it into the office for continued consumption. And I've gone through maybe half of it. So in that sense, it's long since been room temperature, regardless of what temperature it came out of the faucet at. But you don't do that, do you? You don't let it sit.
No, I do.
Okay.
I will actually, so my office and primary computing area is on the second floor of my house. And what I will often do before I go to bed is I will fill up my water glass and set it on my desk before I go to bed so that I don't have to make the trip downstairs to get water, first thing in the morning when I sit down at my computer. I've just got a fresh glass of water ready to go. And the temperature of it does not really matter to me.
Okay. So, I bought a lid for I have a Yeti, 30-something ounce mug-like thing, and it has a lid that I bought specifically because I leave my water out long enough that it will get dusty. So, that's the kind of timescales and thing. It can be like, if I'm like going to work and then, I have a different drink with dinner, and I have tea or something, then that water will sit there for several days.
I see.
And then I'll just be nursing it throughout that time. So yeah, we're definitely long past any differences in temperature out of the tap. And to a certain extent, I believe that also informs at least my decision to not care about putting ice in my water or refrigerating it or otherwise keeping it cold.
Mm-hmm.
Because it would be impractical for how long I leave water out. Because it would just all have melted long before.
Yeah.
So in that sense, it's easier for room temperature water because that's just the default state of water. And you don't have to put any effort into keeping it cold.
Yeah, I really generally don't care about the temperature of my water as long as it is not freezing cold. Now, the idea that cold water does not rejuvenate you or rehydrate you more quickly is one that I'm not totally sure about because of the role that cooling actually has in terms of blood flow. The thing that I was saying about, like, if you drink water that is cold, it goes by your heart and causes your heart to beat faster. Well, if your heart is beating faster, then it's pumping blood more. And if you are taking in a lot of water, then maybe that helps to move more water throughout your body to properly rehydrate you.
I think the reflex you're talking about, where cold water passing by the heart causes it to beat faster, I think if the body knew that, it needed to cool down specifically and that pumping blood faster would have done that, that would have been something that's already being done by your autonomic nervous system. So I don't think that's really a thing. And the same way...
I'm not suggesting that the heart beating faster causes you to cool down. I'm suggesting that the cooling down of the heart causes it to beat faster, which causes more blood to circulate, which causes you to be more rehydrated more quickly.
I'm unsure whether the effect of cold water causing your heart rate to increase is that causal and that significant. It's not something I knew about before today.
I'm just speculating.
Okay. My further speculation is that, when the body cools itself down, we don't do it by radiating heat into our stomach. Where the cold water would be, or into our esophagus.
Mm-hmm.
That might cool us down by, it does remove heat from your body because you put cold water in it.
Mm-hmm.
But the primary means in which we regulate our temperature is, and always has been, evaporative cooling, where we sweat,
mm-hmm.
or just radiative cooling, or convective cooling, where, the surface of our body is warm and radiates off into the environment, and it's carried off by the air we're in. So I don't think the presence of water has an effect there, except that, when you have plenty of water on board, you're able to more easily sweat, which cools you down.
Okay.
So I think that the role of the temperature of water in causing you to cool down, when you're hot, I think is pretty tenuous.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, I wouldn't say, oh, give me a cup of 150 degree water. like unbrewed tea, well, I wouldn't want to do that because it wouldn't feel refreshing. But at the same time, I don't think it would be, that much worse for me than drinking room temperature water or cold water, because it's only the difference in energy in the water is insignificant compared to what your body will do with that water, regardless of what temperature it comes in at.
So doing a little bit of Google searching, it appears that cold water can actually rehydrate you more quickly, and drinking warm water can actually make you less thirsty. It can make you feel less thirsty, even if you do still have a need for water replenishment.
So what does Google say is the mechanism by which cold water rehydrates you faster?
I am trying to find more details about this, and I don't think that I will find it in a timely fashion. So we will have to table this for cold water round 2 at some future date.
Okay. Well, maybe what we can say is that when you are in a dehydration situation where, you need water imminently to protect your body because you're dehydrated and it's hot, and, you'd be at risk for heat stroke or, other bad medical consequences. In that aspect, you do whatever science says you should do.
Mm-hmm.
But in the low-stakes world of sitting at your desk with water and, you're otherwise normally hydrated and you're just drinking water, I think room temperature is best. At the same time, I can't really preach it because it's entirely a matter of personal preference.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. I think we covered it.
I think we did.
Thanks, Zax.
Thanks, Lab. Thank you for joining us on this week's episode of the Seriously Absurd podcast. Please come back again next week for a discussion about monitors.